Hey everybody, it's your girl Planet Ty on deck. I hope you guys are having a great day, afternoon, and or evening whenever you guys are seeing this. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. You guys already know I appreciate that. If you are new, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so you can be informed anytime that I release a new video. Now, for today's true crime, let's get into it. It's a little bit more unique than the other true crimes that I have talked about in the past, but I thought you all may find it very interesting. So check it out. The story takes place in 2014. A 3-year-old Israeli boy who is unnamed, but I'm going to call Mo for the sake of this video, told his parents the details of the murder of his past life. Now get this, he told them he knows who the killer is. So a 3-year-old kid, mom, dad, guess what? In my past life, I was killed, and I know who did it. If you guys want to hear the details that I've put together about this case, all you got to do, stay tuned. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for being back on deck. Without further ado, let's jump into this story time. Now, I tell you ahead of time, this story time is actually one of the shorter cases because there was only limited information that I can find. However, I do hope that you guys enjoy it. I want you guys to light up the comments and let me know your thoughts as always. So let's get back into this. So Mo, who belongs to the Druzi group, which are an Arabic-speaking esoteric group. They are from Western Asia and they adhere to the Druzi faith. They have so basically how Mo was raised. He's a village kid, and he comes from a group of people who believe in the esoteric community. So they have certain traditions and beliefs that they follow and adhere to when kids are very young of age. And one of the things that I'm going to get into very shortly, one of the things that they actually believe, which actually I want to say is likely the catalyst to uncovering the fact that Mo actually was able to identify his killer from a previous incarnation. Now, Mo, he has a long, bright red birthmark across his forehead. So we have a 3-year-old boy, and I think I may have a picture on the screen now. And he stands out in his village, in his community, because both birthmarks, especially on kids, young kids, are really important. The village takes birthmarks very seriously because they believe them to mean something of great significance. In some cultures, birthmarks they depict how a person passed away in their previous life. For those of us who know that reincarnation is real, then you guys will get where I'm coming from there. So a lot of people will say, oh, where's your birthmark? Do you have a birthmark? So where is it? And wherever it is, basically it helps them to determine how you perished in your previous life. Now, in this particular case, the birthmark has significance, not necessarily for how you perish, because it also means who you were and how you lived more so. I believe I'm getting that correct, okay? So Mo, he stands out because, some people, or a lot of people, especially people that I've come in contact with, they may have a small birthmark. I even have a relative who has a birthmark that looks like a piece of a puzzle that's actually on her thigh. Some people have small birthmarks on their face or arms or different things like that. While, also this one girl who I went to school with, she had a birthmark covering the entirety, like a really huge section of a corner of her face. Now, some people do believe, like I said before, if birthmarks can determine how a person perished in their previous life. So obviously, if you got a birthmark on your face, somebody probably wasn't so happy with you in a previous lifetime. You guys know what I mean? So anyhow, this kid has a birthmark, a pretty big birthmark, okay? And it's a long, bright red at that birthmark across his forehead. Long, bright red birthmark across his forehead. So he stands out. He stands out to the village people, his parents, and friends alike. Well, I'm talking about, maybe friends of the family and all that. They're curious as to know, why does this kid have this huge birthmark right across his forehead, right? Now, get this. 3-year-old Mo, he told his parents that that the mark came from when he was killed with an axe in a previous life. So, you know how kids are 3 years old, and sometimes they can just go on and on and on, but a lot of the times some of the stuff they say doesn't make very much sense. But if you listen carefully, they can make a world of sense, Anyway, this particular kid is articulate enough to say, hey, mom, dad, basically, I was, in my past life, I was killed. They hit me with the axe in the forehead. And initially their parents are looking at him like, okay, Mo, okay, and then it goes into something else. Now, according to the Druzy beliefs, birthmarks are, they believe this as well. Birthmarks are related to past life deaths. So they believe that, and a lot of Americans believe that as well, and a lot of other cultures as well believe that birthmarks are associated with what happened in the past. Light up the comments and let me know if you guys believe in reincarnation. I'd like to know. I definitely believe in reincarnation. I know that reincarnation is real, and as a matter of fact, I have a very interesting story that I can share at a later time if you guys are interested, about one of my past lives. I know like some of who the players are in this lifetime, like I know who they are to me now. And what they were to me in the past life, they're that same type of energy for me in this life. Yeah. But anyhow, you guys leave the comments and let me know if you guys want to hear a story time on one of my past life incarnations, what happened to me, how I died, how I lived, who I was, kind of person I was, and all that other good stuff. And also, I want to know, do you guys believe in reincarnation? Now, moving forward with this story. It is customary for the Druzy elders to take a child at the age of 3 to the home of their previous life, if they can remember it, right? So this is their custom, their tradition. By the time the kid hits 3 years old, they're supposed to take the kid, as long as the kid can remember where they live or how to get there and what it looks like and type of people they were around. It is their custom to take the kid back to the house that they used to occupy. Light up the comments and let me know if you guys have ever heard of this. So Mo already knew the village he was from, and upon reaching the village, he also remembered his past life name. So his parents, and it's this one guy who's like an investigator. He's a writer, but he's like a scientist, a historian, and investigator, kind of like all in one. Okay, he has this really huge role that he's playing. Okay, and he's investigating stories of past life incarnations, right? So he gets wind of the story of the 3-year-old boy who says, hey, I was killed with an axe, and I know who did it, right? So he wants to follow this thing through. He wants to see, oh, you say you know? Well, show us. How much do you know? How much do you remember? And how much can be proven? Okay? So the parents say, okay, they take, it's their custom anyhow. So they take the kid, they take Mo over to the village where he was from. And when they reached the village, so what they did is they brought him to a village. The first village, he says, I did not live here, right? They said, okay, let's go to the neighboring village. They get to the second village, the neighboring village. Mo says, it wasn't my house. I didn't live here. They get to the third village, and Mo says, yes, I lived here. I used to live right there. He actually points out his house. And he also remembers his name of who he was in a past life. Now, village locals told the elders that the man who the boy was claiming to be in the previous incarnation, he had gone missing 4 years ago. Now keep this in mind, follow the story. Mo, we're referring to this kid as Mo because he's unnamed, but Mo is just 3 years old. When he gets to the village where he says he lives, and that he lived in his previous life, and that he was murdered at, the guy who he identified himself at, Mo gave the first and last name and said, this was me. This is who I was, right? They didn't provide the guy's name, so we'll call him John Smith, right? I was John Smith. And the village guys said, when Mo got there, they said, oh, John Smith went missing 4 years ago. We never seen him again. Now, it was assumed that this John Smith must have come into some misfortune, as it was known that individuals were killed or taken prisoner in the border areas between the Israel and Syria borders for being suspect for being suspected of being spies. So when this John Smith guy came up missing 4 years ago, people just assumed naturally that he must have been captured. Like somebody must have came, they must have captured him. Maybe he was at the wrong place, the wrong time. Maybe authorities suspected him of being a spy, so they took him away. So they didn't really look for him. They didn't really put too much energy in what truly happened to John Smith, because they just assumed that, hey, they must have captured him. It must have been something like that. So they just didn't look for him, right? And now Mo, he also said that he remembered the full name of his killer. You guys, how interesting is this? Do you guys believe that somebody can have an incarnation and perhaps come back, remember everything that happened to them, and be able to accurately identify what happened to them last time? Light up the comments and weigh in. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is a possibility? Now, as for me, I think absolutely. I have a strong belief that, yeah, of course it could happen. Anything could happen, that our lovely creator says could happen. And I believe any and everything is possible. Now, so Mo also remembered the full name of the killer. So one day, Mo's family, accompanied by the village guys, they took Mo to several villages. When they got to the third one, Mo pointed out his past life house. Now, curious bystanders gathered around, and so people started gathering around. People were curious as to what was going on, right? People, they start talking, they start whispering, and they're like, well, how do you know? What's going on? So this kid, this 3-year-old boy, he says he knows what? He says he was here before? Wait, did he say he was John Smith? Like the John Smith who used to live over there? And people were like, yeah, he claims he was John Smith. And they was like, oh, so they're all standing around as if a magical magician act's about to happen. But everybody is genuinely curious as to what's going to happen next, right? So they were curious. They start standing around. Mo, to people's shock, he walked right up to a man and he called him by name. Now, all the research that I have does not show this guy's name. This man, to my knowledge, is still living right now to this day. So the research does not show his name, so we'll just call him John X, right? The other guy is John Smith. We'll call him John X, right? So John X, right? So he walked up to the man. The 3-year-old kid, Mo, walks up to the man and said, I know you. You're John X, right? The man acknowledged that the boy had called his name correctly, right? He acknowledged. And the whole thing about it is, Mo's parents were looking at him like, oh my God, did my 3-year-old kid who's never been to this village, we have never brought our 3-year-old kid to this village ever. He's just a kid, right? How did our 3-year-old walk right up to this man and call him by name, first and last name? And the man acknowledged, yes, that is me. That is me, right? But what he said became even more so chilling to the people, right? So Mo says, quote, I used to be your neighbor. We had a fight and you killed me with an axe. You guys, what do you think? Could you even imagine what you would do or what you would be thinking? First of all, if you had done something horrible like that, right? And then you thought, okay, it's all done, it's all done. Nothing's going to come of it. And then here's this little bright-eyed, bushy-tailed little kid, little baby at that, walks up to you and said, hey, I used to be your neighbor. We had a fight and you killed me with an axe. That, I don't know. But I think if I was this guy, I probably would have freaked out. I probably would have just freaked out right then and there. That would be a lot to kind of unpack right then and there, right? Now, it's reported that the killer's face turned white as snow upon hearing this. But he initially tried to say, no, kid, kid, you got the wrong person. Go on now. Go have a good time. Go do something else. It's not me, kid. Like, initially, he tried to play this whole thing down like it wasn't him, right? Which became interesting because what it did is it did have some of the village people questioning, well, is the kid correct? Or did this guy do it, right? Did he actually do it? Did he have any part in it? So, yeah, he's in straight denial. Okay, and then Mo, he then let the group of people, which included the accused murderer. So now the village people, they're saying, okay, you just said this to him, and he said, no, kid, you must be mistaken. Not it. Uno reverse. I'm not doing this. I didn't do it, right? And so then Mo says, I can tell you guys exactly where he buried me. More shock. More shock, right? A stunned crowd looks around. They look at the kid. They look at his parents. They look at the guy. And so Mo starts walking. Everybody starts walking with them. Now the guy who the accused killer, he tries to casually walk the other way, like, oh, I don't want no part of this. And the village people politely said, oh, but you're coming right with us. They got him right in tow, got him right together. No, you're coming right with us. Let's go see this body that you said you had nothing to do with, just for fun, just for kicks. So the village people made him go, right? Now Mo, it's reported that he stopped in front of a pile of stones. Okay, and then he told the guy who, the murderer, he told him, you buried my body on the stones and you buried the axe right over there. He pointed. So it's like, it's a tree and then there's stones up under the tree. And so he tells the killer, you buried my body right over there. And right over there next to the other tree, that's where you buried the axe. Right? This is so crazy, right? That's where you buried the axe. So he's able to identify the village, identify the house that he previously lived in. He called the murderer out by name. He took the murderer to where his body was, and he took the people and the murderer to where the axe was. Now, Mo stood, revealing the spot under the stones, and then the townspeople, they kind of looked at each other. They looked at the guy, the killer, and some of the townsmen went over there and started picking up the stones, right? Well, when they picked up enough of the stones, it revealed the body of a man who the kid Mo claimed was him. He identified him by first and last name and said it was him. It revealed his body and revealed that he was a former. He had like former clothes on. So that was the same guy who had became missing in the village 4 years ago. Eerie? Anybody little freaked out yet, or thinking, oh my goodness, this is like amazing? Okay, so that's exactly what he revealed. Now the skull, so the guy, so Mo, when he was the guy, in his skull there was a mark on his forehead that was actually in the shape of an axe. So when the boy said that he was hit on the forehead with an axe and killed, in the deceased man's forehead was an axe print right there. So when we talk about, some people will say, a lot of skeptics will say, oh, that was just a coincidence or this and that. Really? But was it really? All those, it's too many spot on things that were said to be a coincidence. And keep in mind, this is a 3-year-old kid we're talking about who's able to articulate this, right? So the kid has, at 3 years old, I've never known a kid who had a big conception of making fantastical stories in that way. And why would they make a story about being deceased and hit with axes and being able to accurately identify a residence that they never have been to? The parents said, we have never taken our child here. We never taken our child out of a certain area that they lived in, but yet the child was able to bring them there and describe everything there. Now, the guy, he was now shocked and he was frightened. So he decided to admit, yes, I did kill him. The guy was completely shocked. He was taken aback. He was like, how did this kid know that? And then he started thinking, oh my God, this kid is really the guy that I killed 4 years ago. So the kid came back. He reincarnated immediately. I guess Mo was like, well, look, I got stuff to do. You took me out too early. I had a whole plan. What you knocked me off my square for? He came right back and was able to identify him. Now that is something. So it's also reported that at this point, everyone in the group, they start staring at the guy, John, who was the murderer. When he admitted everything in front of everybody, they did find the murder weapon exactly where Mo said it was. Okay, and so the investigator guy, who kind of got a lot of this underway because the story was so big and in the Israel area, that he started asking the village people, okay, well, now that it has been proven and confirmed that this guy John is the guy who murdered the now kid Mo, what are you guys going to do with them? Are you guys going to turn him over to the police? Are you guys going to have him tried for the murder of the former guy? What are you guys going to do? And the people of the village, they basically told him they will not turn the murderer John over to the police. Rather, they will impose a suitable punishment themselves. Now, what ultimately happened to the murderer was not reported. It was not reported. So we don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. They could have decided to kill him. For all we know, they could have. Maybe they believe in eye for an eye. I have no knowledge of that. I also have no articles showing like you guys see their names are under deep covers buried. Okay, they wouldn't get. I understand why they wouldn't give the name of the 3-year-old kid. That's why I just named him Mo organically. But yeah, so they wouldn't provide any names. And what happened to the guy who confessed to the murder of the former guy? No one knows. Well, someone knows. I don't know. And it's not reported in any of the articles that I read, so I can't share with you guys today. But light up the comments and let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think happened to him? Okay. So this entire story, it was documented in by a German therapist, Trutis Hardo's book, Children Who Have Lived Before Reincarnation Today. That's the name of the book. Okay. Children Who Have Lived Before Reincarnation Today. Okay, so the whole experience of everything that happened, things that I've shared with you guys and additional things, it's all documented in that book. All right, now I definitely thought that this is rather a story time worth, well, a true crime worth sharing, right? Still a lot to it has layers, and I think it's a lot to unpack. It gives you a lot to think about. Again, I am a person who absolutely believes in reincarnation. So to me, it makes sense. I don't think I've ever heard of a case where somebody could describe in such intricate detail, even so far as to go right back to the killer. And perhaps that's because the kid Mo, he came back so fast. You know, when I think of reincarnation, I think of people, you know, living and not being able to reincarnate until perhaps 100 years down the line, which is standard for a lot of reincarnation cases that I have heard of. But then there's other reincarnation cases where people pass and they really feel like they just went too fast and they just really want to get back in there and finish this thing called life, because, you know, life really is a school. Okay, so we are all here to learn and to grow and to teach each other. So I think that the spirit of the kid Mo was just like, no, I'm here to learn. I'm here to teach. There's a lot I had to do. You knocked me off my square, but I don't want to wait all this time. I want to come back now. Now, also, I have I've watched some videos on, I think it's Lifetime Movie Networks, like documentaries, where they'll show other kids who have you know, they have experience remembering their past lives as well. Like there's kids who said that they have remembered being a part of what is it called? The trade towers, what's it called? I can't remember the name. I'll put it in. The tower, I forgot, what is it called? Well, anyways, 9/11. It's documentaries about kids and young kids, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. Really, 7 is kind of high on the age, but 6, 5, 4 years old, who have said they were there when when it happened, when it went down. Kids have been able to describe the names and the people, who they were and where they were in the towers when it all happened, and yet they were not born. I mean, now they're about 4 years old, so it's like, where are you getting all this information from? So it is some very interesting stories on reincarnation, but like I said, I don't think I've heard of a case as detailed as this one, where this little boy Mo was able to identify his killer and come back, say what happened to him, where it happened, how it happened, who did it, where the weapon is, and all of that. Now, I would love it if you guys will share any reincarnation stories that you guys may have heard about in the comments with me. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything that you think, I may have information on. And if I don't, I'm happy to research it, because I get down like that. Now, if you are new, again, I would love it if you would thumbs up this video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell anyone and everyone your girl Planet Ty is telling you guys about a true crime case that involves reincarnation, and you may have never heard about it. But as always, light up the comments and let me know your thoughts. Like I always say, there's always another story to be told. But for now, bye!